Hey everybody, Josiah Town here, grandson of Harvey and Joyce Town and son of Mike and Francie Town. First of all, I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you for being here today and for honoring Grandpa in this way, and even for those who are streaming in online. We really appreciate it. I wanted to share a couple things about Grandpa, some of my memories and admirations of him. Grandpa was an awesome guy, a great role model, and we're really going to miss him a lot. But we are hopeful because we know where he is and we know that we're going to get to see him again one day. Grandpa was the type of guy that was usually up before the sun. Typically in the early morning hours you could find him in his office, many times reading and praying. He was always very intentional about how he spent his time and also very intentional about his interactions with people. I think that's one of the reasons why he had such peace in his latter days, as he knew his days were numbered, as we all do, and he had a sense of peace about him. Not only did he know where he was going, but he also knew that he had run the race well, and that he had used his time here on earth wisely and fulfilled his calling to the best of his ability. And that's something I want to learn from, and something I want to do in my own life. What a great way to live your life, to where when you get to the end of your life, you know that you fulfilled your calling here on earth and that you spent your days living up to what God had for you. Another memory that I love about my grandpa is how when we would come to visit them in the early morning hours on the day that we were leaving, in typical grandpa fashion, you would usually see him out in the driveway, airing up our car tires, sometimes checking the oil, and if it was wintertime, usually scraping the snow off of our vehicles. But not to leave Grandma out, because they've been a great team. And you could always find Grandma in the kitchen, making us breakfast, and on the day that we were leaving, many times packing us a lunch for the road. It's really neat in today's day and age to see a couple that works so well together to serve God just in their everyday lives. Another thing that I really admire about my grandpa is how he put family first. His children were extremely important to him, and when they were in a tough situation in life, he would do whatever he could to get to them. Whether it was of their own making or not, when they were in trouble, he'd be the one on the first plane out. Even if they're on the other side of the world, he'd cross oceans to get to them and lock arms and see them through tough times. That's something that I just really admire. Another memory that I really love about Grandpa is how him and Grandma would lift each of us up in prayer every morning. Their kids, their grandkids, and their great-grandkids. Around the breakfast table, they'd mention each of us by name in prayer. It was really neat as a kid knowing that my grandparents were praying for me every day. And I know it meant a lot to many of us grandkids. One last thing that I'll mention is just a sweet memory that is mostly for the grandkids, but the memory of Grandpa stoking the fire in the morning. A lot of times we'd camp out on the couch or on the living room floor in the basement of their house, and before the sun would come up, typically, you'd hear Grandpa coming down the stairway to stoke the fire. That's always a really sweet memory I'll have for years and years. Thank you all for coming. It's really an honor to have you guys here today to honor my grandpa.